Leadership on Demand, TM Hyman, back with another episode and another dynamic leader. It is my pleasure to welcome to the show my friend Migena Agaraj. Hey, my friend, did I get
Hi,
that right?
Tim. It,
Listen, you've corrected me so many times on your first name, so Migena, certainly I get that right. Agaraj,
it's
she's like, nope, you
Migena.
didn't get that. One more time. It's what? What?
Migena. Everything is a hard G. Migena.
Oh, hold on, McKenna.
Oh, you got
Hold
it.
on.
Perfect.
Hold on. Because McKenna, I practiced, so we're gonna start over.
Oh, okay. I like it.
We're back with another episode, Leadership on Demand, TM Hyman with Migena Agaraj. Migena,
So good to see you. It's Migena.
listen. It's my mind, right? I think I focus on the hard G so much.
That you
It's me.
eliminated it completely.
It's like I'm thinking about it too hard.
You are. You are. And
Okay.
it's not your fault because we have these crazy names.
So pronounce your full name one more time for me, and I'm
Mig-
gonna take three.
Migena Agaraj.
Here we go. Leadership on Demand, TM Hyman, Migena Agaraj is my guest today. I have struggled with saying her name, but listen, she is here with me, and I'm so excited about it. Migena.
So good to see you.
So good to see you, my friend. I think we met back in, was it New York or was it Lexington? It was
We
New York.
we we spiritually and voice wise have met last January when I joined Clubhouse.
Yes.
Then in person we met in July of last year when we had an in real live event in New York City with a lot of our friends from Breakfast with Champions, and we were in a
Yes.
fashion show together where you
That's right.
were.
Right, Miguel, we were in a fashion show, and it was the first time I had ever walked a fashion show. I had on, I think it was like a $4,000 fur,
More
and
like Holly.
you were there, and listen, that was a very exciting like event, Breakfast of Champions. First time a lot of us had ever come together. But you are very interesting. Real estate is your area. You are very successful, right, as a real estate investor. You are in rooms that a lot of people um, find it very difficult to get in. I hear you speak often, and I recently heard you share something about your story that made me really want to lean in and talk to you a little bit more. But before we go any further, introduce yourself a little bit to people who may not be familiar.
Oh, well, thank you so much for the honor to be on your show. It's a privilege to know you. You're just a wonderful person, and I love
Oh,
sharing spaces with humans like
thank you so much.
yourself. You're superhuman in my book because you have achieved the highest success a human can achieve, being a humble person and never lose yourself in the process of any circumstance you've gone through life. And here you are hosting this amazing podcast, and it's a privilege really to be a guest here. So my name is Migena Agaraj, born and raised in Albania, moved to New York City when I was 19 years old, um, from Albania to the Bronx. Ever since, I've been in many different jobs, and it has been a fascinating journey so far because in every role that I've held, I have learned something more about myself, and everything else different. What's been constant is the love that I have for people and for connecting with people. I don't want to call them strangers because we're not strangers. We all are connected energetically. So, um, as I said, I'm in New York. I live with my parents and my brother in the Bronx. And I am in a lot of different spaces currently, but real estate has been a passion of mine, a passion that I had no idea it existed. And pretty much I went through this journey this year where I quit my corporate job in New York City. I traveled to Miami, attended a real estate event, and it hit me. I said, wow, there is a big world out there, because I was in the real estate space in New York, but I was in the management side, in the business development side, client relations. But there is such an ocean of opportunities within that same industry that I haven't discovered yet. And I'm very visual, so I decided to go and see it for myself versus hearing someone else speak about it. And this is where I am right now in this beautiful world.
Yeah, listen, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Because I think many people want to take the leap, right? We know that there's a big old blue ocean. We know that, right? We know that there's tons of opportunity, but we don't go seeking the opportunity, right? We stay in our comfort zone, um, and we think about it, but most of us don't take action. And so, congratulations for the leap. Congratulations on taking the action. But I want to go back a few steps. You said that you came from Albania at 19
Oh
and
my.
you moved into the Bronx. For anyone who does not know anything about New York City, the Bronx is one of the toughest, if not unarguably, the toughest, because I don't think there's too many people who's going to argue, the
Mhm.
toughest borough in New York. Like, what was that transition like coming out of Albania into the Bronx?
Oof.
Oof, right.
Think about getting off at JFK and then driving through Queens and then coming into the Bronx. It feels a dream, because my focus was not the Bronx, the dangerous Bronx, the challenging Bronx. For me, it was I'm finally in the United States. I didn't see Bronx, I didn't see boroughs, I didn't see New York. I saw land of opportunities.
Promised
So
land. Yeah.
the promised land. And I'm having a bad hair day. Happy
You look
Friday.
great. You look great to us.
It's like, look at this. It's like a big fur, like the fashion show. But anyways,
You
oh
look
my
great.
God. I'm gonna stop touching my hair because my mother will definitely not be happy with this. So, 19 years old, did not speak English, traveled here with a tourist visa, with the decision that I wasn't going to go back to Albania. So I already, the moment I set foot at JFK, I brought myself 6 months into the future, when that last day of me expiring as a legal status in this country, and day one starting as me being an illegal alien functioning and surviving in the United States, and to narrow it down into the Bronx. But again, because there were so many other emotions that were taking place at that time, as I said, I wasn't thinking the danger. I was thinking, I am here. It's the first day of my new life.
Yes.
And I was just focusing on finding a job, supporting my family to pay the debts, and get a legal status. I was blocking all the other noises. Like, honestly, every single person that I was coming in contact with was a friend. I didn't see danger, and to this day, people think I'm crazy for living in the same neighborhood. I actually live in the same building I lived when I first moved to this country when I was 19. And
Wow.
it's yes, and it's as I say, TM, we the people make places beautiful.
Yes.
It's not like we make the places. And here in the Bronx, I have my parents and my brother, my family. I have a lot of the friends who helped my family uh, through the process to get us here. So the Bronx is a very beautiful place. I have spent my all my like half of my life here to this point, and I have created this environment in my mind, in my heart, and around me where it's home. And of course, I feel like everywhere you go in the world is beautiful when you have around you what makes life beautiful. And it's
Yes.
not the buildings or the trees, it's that everyday love and support and encouragement, and that the drive, the challenges. Because if we didn't have all of these colors in our lives, it would be like a botanical garden with tulips. But we want the roses, we want the other flowers that I cannot even say in English because it's not my first language. But I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to get at. That
Yes.
it's
Yes.
I'm very blessed to be here.
I love your perspective and your mindset, right?
Thank you.
Because I agree. It's us, the people, right, that make up the beauty of the things. I love how you just described challenges as colors, right? It adds the color to our life, right? And I'm gonna listen. I'm into art. I'm into to color as well as a creator, a producer,
Mm,
but very artistic. And color, it does help us. Color brings life. Color, gives us energy, right? And together, we are um, collectively, right? The beautiful things. We look at things and we're like, oh, that's beautiful. But it's really the harmony of the people, right? That
yes,
creates true beauty. And I love that. Listen, you said you live in the same place
yes.
that you lived since you were 19 years old. What I know to be true is that the Bronx has, listen, it's evolved. It's evolved a
Mhm.
whole lot, right, over the last couple decades, just like Brooklyn. Like Brooklyn is a
Mm.
whole different
Oh,
place,
oh,
right,
absolutely.
compared
Yes.
to the Brooklyn that we knew, maybe 10, 20 years ago. Let's talk about real estate for a little bit, right? Because with you being in the same building that you've been since you were 19, what someone may be shocked to know is that, well, I said let's go into real estate, but before we do that, one would
Mhm.
be shocked to know that you are not just a real estate investor with several doors. We'll get into how many doors you actually
Sure.
but you're also a co-author. You co-authored a book,
Yes,
Powerful uh,
female. I'm gonna grab
Female
it.
Immigrants. Powerful
Yes,
Female Immigrants. Let's talk about that because you are clearly a powerful female immigrant. Let's talk about that beautiful book.
thank you. And here I am. Oops, with mom. Okay, so I, of course, am in Clubhouse networking during COVID and working from home and connecting with people nationally and internationally. And then when you and I met in real life in July in New York City, there were a lot of us over there from Clubhouse,
Lots
from
of us.
different walks of lives. And one of
Yes.
them was also Michael Butler.
Michael
You,
Butler.
yes, so he's a publisher
Yes.
of Beyond Publishing companies.
I was just
Uh,
here with him in Atlanta for Renee's event a couple months ago.
Amazing. He just got married. He's in his honeymoon. So
Congratulations.
yes, fantastic. And I even witnessed his proposal to his fiance at at the book launching in Dallas in August. It's been
So
amazing.
cool.
I'm telling you, like
So cool.
attracting all these beautiful energies. So long story short, connected with Michael in Clubhouse. We met in real life. Then we attended another event in Atlanta last year in August. Um, last thing I ever wanted to think about is write a book, because I don't consider myself an author, but I love telling stories. And Michael didn't know anything about my story, but he did know that he didn't know a lot about my story, but he did know that I was an immigrant. And this year, he calls me and says, "Hey, I have this amazing project where I have pretty much approached 20 plus female immigrants who live in the United States to write a little bit of their story. And I would love for you to be part of the book." And I'm looking at the phone. I'm like, "Wait, Mike, you know it's Migena, right? Like, I don't write books." Like, "Yes, I know it's you." I said, "I don't want to ruin your project because it sounds amazing. I support women. I support immigrants. I support people in general. Anyone and everyone who does amazing things in the world. Can I support you differently?" He's like, "I would love for you to be part of the book. Write a chapter. You have this deadline," which it's amazing because I love being held accountable. Otherwise, it's very difficult for me to stay focused in one thing because I just get too excited about different projects. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, I would love to feature my mother because it's a story worth being told." And next thing you know, TM, because of a relationship that was born on Clubhouse, that we were nurturing, just like I stay in touch with you through the spaces that we are in almost every morning and meeting in real life. Next thing you know, I wrote a chapter in this amazing book, uh, and oh my goodness, and it's like one of those dreams that you have in the drawer, and you like, wow, another box checked. It's like I manifested it. I dreamed about it. I always wanted to write books. My mother, same
So
thing. And here I am now, a bestseller co-author along with 23 other amazing women, which I had the opportunity to meet in real life. 100% of the profits go to an organization called 1040 Impact, where pretty much we don't profit for ourselves. I profit through the love and the care and the share we give to the world through our glimpses of our stories. So we are making an impact by collectively giving back to others who need it the most and paying it forward. So I'm so grateful that, not because I wrote a chapter and for a few people worldwide to know who Migena is, because in my eyes and my heart, everyone has a beautiful story to share. But I am most grateful for the opportunity to be one of the gifters, because every person that purchases this book and reads this book is making a difference through my story, through Moza's story, through so many other amazing writers in this book. And I learned that when you have a story to tell and when it comes from the heart, you don't need to be a writer. When you
yeah,
speak from the heart and you transfer it into paper, magic happens. And I saw it happening for me and my family. And that's how I am now wanting to write more and more. So that's how that book came into life.
that's so freaking cool, right? When you're challenged to do something that you didn't necessarily see within yourself. Michael Butler has challenged many, many people, and just congratulations, right? Congratulations. How can people pick up the book?
It's on Amazon. So the title is Powerful Female Immigrants, and it's 24 stories, 24 movements, and pretty much inspiring greatness. And there's pictures in the back, and there's a beautiful bio for every single one of the authors at the end of the chapter. And it's fascinating because when you read a story and you think you've been transported, then you go into a next chapter and you're like, "Oh my goodness, there's more and there's more." And it's 24 different countries. I am the only one from Albania, and I even went to Albania last September, and I was interviewed by a few TV channels, and everyone is just so grateful that I get to speak about my beautiful country through the book, and the impact really that we are making for the children, and for the future. This is an investment into the future, and again, such a privilege and honor to be one of the few, and we hope to expand this network of people who love to share pieces of their stories, put them in books where others can purchase and invest into the future. So yes, that's
So cool. So
yeah,
cool.
that's
Please
awesome.
go to Amazon, pick up the book, Powerful Female Immigrants, 24 powerful stories that will motivate you, that will inspire you. You first said that you were at a real estate firm doing business development, um, and you saw a bigger ocean in that real estate world, and you felt the need to go out and to find out a little bit more. So you went from New York to Miami. Listen, you could have went anywhere in the world. I know why you went to Miami. Let's talk about why Miami, because it has
Um,
proven to be like one of the best decisions you've ever made, right?
yes,
Talk
I
about it.
absolutely. So in New York City, I've been in the commercial real estate space first as an HR recruiter, hiring the staff that would work in the buildings. Then from there, a supervisor. Not to mention that I was still serving tables at Milos and had two full-time jobs where I'm wearing a uniform at night, a
Multitasking.
suit in the morning, and then when I switched roles to becoming a supervisor at night, I wore a uniform at the restaurant in the morning and managed a commercial real estate space in the evening. And then after that, I a year later I went to Goldman Sachs, the headquarters of Goldman Sachs in New York City, 200 West, where for the next 2 years, I would say I went for a PhD in real estate, because you enter that space, and
Learn
when
so
you
much.
think you've seen it all in New York, you're like, wow, it's a new world.
Yeah.
It's a city within a city. And there I had over 100 employees. I was a project manager, again, dealing with clients and making sure that everything was run smoothly in the space. And then from there, I worked at Hearst Tower, where now you go from a financial mogul firm into the fashion world. You see the Bazaar magazines, you see Oprah's and Gail's offices, and see them come into that space and doing business. And it's beautiful. And I love fashion. I'm like, oh my goodness, another box checked. I got to see Oprah in real life. It's a conversation for another time. And then from there, being an area director for a $4 billion company, international, where now I have 20 or 30 plus buildings, where I have over 60 clients that I would see on a daily basis, and nurture these relationships and make sure that they stayed with us. I had a 100% retention during this role. And then I was recruited from one of my mentors to be a director of business development for a San Francisco based company, $1 billion company. Now, in addition to me having all those roles where I was maintaining relationships, I was now responsible to expand this presence, our presence in New York City, because of my prior relationships. And then I felt like I hit a ceiling. I was like, I've been doing 5, 6 different roles within 10 years and some more. And then I'm like, what's next? So because I'm on Clubhouse, my mind is being expanded and being trained on a daily basis. I see different people coming in and out of the rooms. And I would notice that when certain people would enter the room, a room would go from 300 people to 1,000 people. It was at the time where everyone was home and trying to stay sane during
Yeah.
COVID. And then in specificity, this gentleman called Grant Cardone, never heard about him before, but he would enter the room and people would follow him, and he would have like 700,000 followers. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I love the element of surprise. I am curious. So I started to follow him on Clubhouse. And then I followed him on Instagram. I'm like, wow, this is cool. He's someone who's been doing a few things in
Just a
and make
few.
just a few. I was like, wow, no wonder everyone follows him, and shame on me for not knowing him. But God has a bigger plan because it's all about timing. And he this is last June or July, and then in December he had this real estate summit happening in Aventura, Florida. And of course, I was still working for my company as a director of business development. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I take off? Do I attend? Do I not attend? Maybe it's not my world because I'm on the management side, I'm on the client side. I am not a real estate agent. All these voices that try to prevent us so hard from unlocking other doors. And of course, I'm stubborn. And of course, I challenge my voices. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go. And of course, when I decided to go, the tickets were sold out. I was like, wait
Oh
a
no.
second. I'm like, it makes no sense. I want this so bad. Okay, I need to find a way to get to that summit.
Hmm.
I started talking to people who I heard were becoming friends with Grant on the Clubhouse platform. No luck. Everyone kept saying, oh, reach out to this person, reach out to that person, which I was so grateful for those responses as well, because I love people responding. I'm like, okay, Migena, you've been in this world now for over 30 years. You know how it works. If you can get through to ABC, go straight to the source. If you have access to the source, go to the source. If you don't have access to the source, create access, create opportunities. And I decided to write Grant myself on Clubhouse because there is a feature there where you can message people, as they call it, DM me.
Hmm.
I already had a 50% answer. I had a no. The other 50% was a yes. So it's going to be now 100% yes or no. So let's find out. I was very curious to find out. I sent Grant a message, the billionaire. Hey, Grant, my name is Migena. I keep hearing that you have this summit coming up in Miami. I would love to attend. I finally was okay to take some time off from work, but the tickets are sold out. Can you help me purchase a ticket? And of course, I threw it out there. I had no expectations, but I fulfilled my own expectation that I did
That's huge.
everything I had to do in order to get to that next level. And now it's on the other person.
And you weren't afraid, right? I think a lot of people want see our subconscious or conscious, whatever, is talking to us, but we don't respond, right? We don't take action. We'll just sit on it. We're like, oh no, no, he'll never respond to me, or oh no, he's a billionaire, right? No, I'm not. Who am I? We talk ourselves in and out of opportunities, right? So you took the action.
Self-sabotaging, right?
Yes. So you took the action, you put it on him to respond, and then what happened?
And then he responds.
Uh-oh, he responded.
Yes, and I always speak about this power of asking, which is one of my
Power of the ask.
super,
Yes.
super, superpowers, right? The power of asking. And I am in the process of writing a book about that, around the magic that happens when you ask.
Put yourself out
Not
there.
just
Don't be scared. Just do it.
it's not look. It's not a power of asking because I am asking something from you. It's asking in general, asking how
That's right.
can I be of service to you? How can I help with this? So it's a lot that goes on into that. But then Grant responds, and I couldn't read it at first. I'm like, oh my God, he responded. Wait, what? Maybe it's a secretary. I'm like, no. When you speak to people in Clubhouse, it's their
Maybe it's
personal
a
phone.
secretary.
It's not an email. It's not an IG. It's a Clubhouse app. And the way it works is, as you know, TM, when you DM people on the back channel on the Clubhouse, it's their phone, so they receive the message.
Directly to
It's
the phone.
not
Absolutely.
from someone else. So to me, I pretty much said to Migena, I have Grant Cardone's phone number. I just don't know the number and I don't care as long as my message is going through.
Directly to them. Powerful.
How true is that?
Very,
There's millions.
that's crazy that you put it that way, right? I have Grant's phone number. Listen, it's like I
I
would have
do.
never processed it that way, but that's how you keep it real, and that's how you motivate yourself to take action, right?
So
Listen,
yeah.
that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
So now I said I have all, and people talk about funnels, this and that. I'm like, I'm on Clubhouse right now as we speak, giving you a live image of it. Sorry. There's over 2 million people on Clubhouse. And guess what,
Whoa,
guys? We have over 2 million people's phone numbers without having the actual numbers. And the actual numbers don't matter. What matters
doesn't
is
matter. That's
we
right.
have access. We have
Right.
access to 2, 3, 4 million. I don't know how many there are right now. So I was like, I have Grant at his phone. I know he'll get back to it. The next thing you know, he responds, TM. He says, absolutely, hi, Migena. Of course, reach out to Annie. And he sends me Annie's email address. I was like, oh my goodness, I am going at the event. I have the man himself
Yes.
behind this event responding to me. Now it became from an idea and a wish to go and discover something more out there in this big ocean to it's my obligation to show up at this event right now because this person who is doing a million things in the world, changing lives, inspiring, he stopped everything he was doing. He wasn't important enough not to respond to Migena, to someone he doesn't know, but he knows enough that one, she had the courage to reach out to him.
That's right.
So he sends me back this message. Hey, I see you. I appreciate that you're taking a chance on reaching out to me and you're not afraid of being rejected. Now it's my obligation because he saw me and he responded to me to show up and not just show up, but really show up because showing up it's one thing, TM, but how we show up, it's
Yes.
another level. It's not, oh, I went to the event. No, 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 no. What are you going to do at the event? To me, to this day and moving forward, I always speak about this amazing experience because it speaks volumes. And I thanked him on stages and I told him why I was loyal to him. And I told
I've
him,
heard you thank him on stages. So
thank
that's real. And I've been in this mentor program for months now, right? I mean, and
you.
clearly we're on stages all the time together. But I love what you've just shared. And I wanted to take time to walk through this, right? Because one, you are genuine. You
Thank
you
you.
have been the same person before I met you, right? When I met you, after I've met you, you've been the same person. And I love like how practical you are. How practical, right? I mean, we're a
Thank
part of Breakfast with Champions, the Millionaire Breakfast Club. A lot of millionaires. In fact, there are billionaires, like real people doing real things. And I
you.
think
Yes,
sometimes, we mistake these humans that are being right as like super I don't know like super out
unapproachable.
of touch, maybe untouchable, right? We think
Untouchable.
we think that they're untouchable. So I love the fact that you told this story because my hope is that it encourages someone who is sitting right, just sitting on their hands when all they have to do is just push the button, like shoot the text off,
I
right?
love it.
Like create the message. Just do it. You said that you weren't afraid of rejection.
No, I'm
Fear
not.
of rejection, I think, is
Mm-mm.
keeping a lot of us in a stuck energy, right? It's like
Mm.
he's too big. He's a billionaire. I'm not on his level, right? Like we've got to get outside of our own heads and just take massive action. Grant teaches massive action, massive action. But guess what? Doesn't matter what you're trying to do. You got to get out of your own head and take massive action. McKenna, you are also an asset services consultant. right?
Yes.
Asset services. So talk about that a little bit. What does that mean?
Oh, thank you. Because on a daily basis, we are, as humans, trying to say that one perfect sentence that it's a hook, but it's not about the hook, and it's not about any of that. I love it that it's a little confusing because, in my opinion, it allows for others to ask questions. Because if we handed everything perfectly, no one would reach out or even ask. So I'm glad that you asked the question, because it's proven that it has to be a little ambiguous so we can engage in conversations. Now, I attended the real estate summit with Grant, um, and the attitude I had was, this year will be a year where, let me see where I take life. Because for the first part, when I moved into this country, it wasn't about where Migena takes life. It was about, okay, Migena should live and survive, and regardless of where life is, she is going to meet her. She's going to meet the opportunity. She's going to be the hostess. She's going to be the person with three jobs. And when I went to Grant, and the fact that he gifted back to me and proved once more that the power of asking, it's indeed powerful and a life changing. And I'm sitting in those rooms, and I'm sitting with hundreds and hundreds of people, and I have in my seat the entire raw TM of all 12 people, are all the people that Grant and Elena picked up from New Jersey at Teterboro's private airport with his private jet and brought to the real estate. These are all clubhouse friends. And I have Carmelia Ray texting me and saying, I know you are at the summit. Can you save us some seats? I'm like, how many? 5, 10, 12. Now I'm on a mission. I'm there alone. I'm there on my
Come on,
own.
Chameleon. 10, 12 seats.
12 seats, where it's an event that it's first come, first serve. Who is coming? Oh, Jerry and Nelson and Barbara Majeski and
Oh
Brian Benstock.
man, the crew, the
Todd
whole crew, right?
I'm like Jonathan Bink. I'm like, what? What? Oh my God, Byron. Wow, Byron is coming. Okay, who else? And this and that. I'm like, Jesus, I haven't met any of these people in real life. Now I am going by myself. I'm wearing a red dress, high heels, and I am pretty much taking over the VIP section at the summit, like I own it. And people would sit there. I'd be like, I'm sorry, the seat is taken, the seat is taken. I became friends with a few people that were sitting in front of me, behind me. I said, could you please help me not let anyone enter from this side or that side? And I would put my jacket in one chair and my pen in another chair and my phone in the other chair. So it looks like they were all taken. I was improvising because I am now responsible for an entourage, like 12 clubhousers that I've been connected with. And now I have the opportunity to meet in real life. They're my friends. Next thing you know, I'm sitting there. People think Grant also flew me on that private jet,
Why not?
because clearly I had everybody else who flew from that jet. They're like, oh, were you on that plane? Because
With that
Grant kept,
fly ass red dress, you was certainly on that plane.
look, I was in a different private jet. I was on a jet of friendships and networking. Look, look, to me, being on a private jet, it's amazing. Absolutely. I can't wait to be on a private jet. But I have access to every single person who was on the jet with
On the jet.
Grant.
That's right.
I was on the jet.
That's
I
right.
was with them for the next 3 days. They got to know who I was. And next thing you know, Grant would be right where we were on aisle 7 and would say, here are my clubhousers, and here are my clubhousers. And I was right on the first seat, and then everybody else next to me, Brian Benstock's daughter, Barbara Majeski, and then everybody else. We would network, and it's all good, right? It's all good. It's all amazing. Here I am in my mind, because I am a human, comparing myself where I am in this moment, December 13, 2021, sitting with Barbara Majeski from Today's Show at CNBC, Brian Benstock, a national and international, one of the like highest, paid partners in the auto industry. We have Grant, who's changing lives, and so many other beautiful people I cannot wait to know more about. And I'm like, I work for a $1 billion company in the city. I work for them. I work for myself. I work for my family. But it's not enough. It's not enough. There's that instinct that one of my mentors tells me, you have a very powerful instinct. Your problem is you don't listen to it all the time. You ignore it. So pay attention to it. My mother, who tells me all the time, who teaches me on a daily basis, who's beautiful, wise, super patient, and the best human in this entire planet. She's like, go out there, go out there. You have potential to do more, be more. And of course, she's my mother. Of course, she's going to say that. But then here I am in these spaces. Here I have Grant Cardone reaching out to me. Here I have his right hand, Annie, his executive assistant, who knows this entire calendar, helping me get that ticket. Now I am making sure I'm saying hello to Annie and thanking her in person. Everyone is like, you can't talk to Annie. I'm like, of course I can talk to Annie. Tell Annie Migena is here. They're like,
So
okay.
Migena,
So
just for the sake of time, I want to fast forward to you are now very entrenched in this space, right? And it's not by happenstance. And I don't want people to miss that it's not by happenstance, right? You inserted yourself based on your goal and based on what you were trying to accomplish. You didn't wait on anyone. You inserted yourself and then you became useful. You became useful. But let's fast forward.
so
How many real estate properties have you been able to acquire since becoming an
um,
investor?
I want to be respectful of your first question. So as a real estate asset consultant, I pretty much provide different services that real estates locally and nationally need, such as either security, technology, being in compliance with different local laws, from elevators to windows to you name it, anything and everything that has to do with the building. I consult for these building owners, and I connect them with the best companies out there that I vouch for and I work with. And this is how I am bringing value to the same industry that helped me grow to the person that I am today. So I am giving back by doing something that I love, staying in touch with the people and providing value and the best services to them so they don't have to do all the research. I am bringing the solutions because I always wanted to be the source where people call me and say, Miguel, I need this. I got you. I know TM. He's an expert in the field. Like, I just love being a source. So as a consultant, this is what I am
And that's
starting.
the assets services consulting, just to be able to connect that for the audience.
Yeah. What was the question?
No, I was clarifying. You were explaining the
Yes.
services consulting.
Yes. That's exactly what I have created as a business,
Yes.
uh, where I feel I am again on a daily basis. And now, because of the summit that I attended with Grant Cardone, I ended up pretty much joining his real estate club. And there now I created the opportunities for myself to have access to like-minded people who wanted to be in the multifamily space to acquire properties. And you had people like me who had zero properties to people who owned hundreds and thousands. And listening to their stories, they were so inspiring, where they would say, you don't need to have money in order to be a real estate owner in these spaces, because there's different areas of expertise that we can bring in and be of value and be part of the GP, general partners team, or an LP, limited partners team. And I thought that was mind blowing, and that's why it hit me. I said, this is why people are really getting rich and wealthy, because it's not you go to work, you save, and then you buy something, and so on and so forth. So pretty much, because of my exposure to the real estate summit, my partner and I, which I met at the real estate summit, presented an amazing deal to the group. And Grant is there on a weekly basis with us. And Grant loved it so much. He said, you know what? I'm going to partner with you guys on this deal. And everybody goes, what just happened? This is insane. We have someone who believes in this deal. And it goes to show again how much Grant wants to help us as individuals and as a collective. And then later on, I helped raise capital for a lot of different deals, and we closed a couple of months ago 174 units in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with pretty much zero money down. So I pretty
Zero
much
money down.
I'm on the GP team because I help in other ways to make sure and help get this deal to the finish line. And now I could say that I'm a proud co-owner of 174 units, and we have a lot of other deals that are in the works. And investing with grants.
174. That's amazing. 174 units. That's amazing. Listen, what would you say to that 19-year-old girl, right? That left her country, came to a whole different country, right? What would you say to her today?
I would say to her that she should be very proud of who she is, that she did not lose herself in the process of when she was a hostess and made her first $7 an hour, which was a huge achievement. And then when she was a manager at Goldman Sachs, feeling and touching those beautiful spaces that many dream of, to be in New York City and breathe American air. She should be proud and never be hard on herself, because we all have our own journeys. Have no regrets, and that now is her time. Now she's ready for that next step. I never once tell her, I wish I did this 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, because even if we have those voices in our heads, there's nothing we can do to change them. We actually creating roadblocks to fast forward in a speedy way into the future. So I thank the 19-year-old for having a beautiful heart and for keeping the same heart throughout my journey. And regardless of who I meet, regardless of how many lives I have impacted, what's important to me is how much all the people that I've met have impacted me. So I'm just grateful that she had that open heart and open mind at 19, at 26, at 30 plus, and continuing to stay true to her core, which is Migena. It's who she is, and she should never ever compare herself with anyone else, but just take those other people's accomplishments and having them as visions, as inspirations, or as lessons of what not, or what to do and what not to do, because we all are in this world to serve a purpose. And she really has served me well all these years. So I just want to thank her.
That's so beautiful. McKenna, how would you describe your leadership style? This is a leadership
Woo!
podcast, right?
Oh
And
my God.
I've heard so many things, so many things, and I had so many questions, right? But you just laid this out so eloquently. You hit on so many things that I think are just great takeaways and gems for people to reflect on. But how would you describe your leadership style? I'm a servant leader. In everything that I do, I'm serving. I know that you volunteer. I know that you support a lot of nonprofit
I do.
projects. And so
I
how would
do.
you describe your leadership?
Uh, Leadership. One example is I have employees who still work at Goldman Sachs. See, I still call them employees. They're my friends now, but people who used to work under my management, 6 years later texts me, "Hi boss, we miss you. Are you coming back?" And I'm like, wow. And my leadership style is, I started working and had all these employees. I thought I was being set up to fail because there is no way I could handle and manage, or deserved rather, to manage the day to day, their lives of 80 plus, then at some point 100 plus human beings from all over the world in the most diverse city in the world, in the capital of the world, from 18 to 80. Like, what did I do to deserve to be in the presence of these humans who are doctors in their countries, who are artists, and here they are working hard in these buildings to create better lives for their families? That was a responsibility. I have goosebumps now talking about this. I'm going to cry. So why
Please
was
don't
I
cry because you'll make me cry. Please don't.
why was I so privileged? And I don't really cry. Why was I so privileged? Why was I given this honor and this duty and this obligation? So
Yes.
I had a meeting with them and I told everybody, okay, first things first, nobody here calls me boss. I was hired to work for you. Nobody here works for me. And that's how I've led my life, in family, in friendships, in relationships, in workships, whatever you want to call them. I was hired, I was given this big responsibility to make sure that the well being of these humans was not only coming to work and working in a happy environment, but leaving and going home looking forward to coming to work the next day. So I was feeling very responsible for that. So my leadership style is stop and think, don't speak when you are under stress at work. Always weight the facts and always communicate with the person, because you'd be surprised as what someone is saying versus what someone else's truth is. And being that I consider myself an international human because I belong to the world and I've done so many different roles, and I can relate to all of these people who work in these buildings. I'm an immigrant myself. I'm someone's daughter. I'm someone's sister, someone's friend. I've always been the first one to work hard and lead by example and show up in a positive way and super fair. And probably I have made mistakes in my career over the years, and it's been because of lack of experience. But I've been so blessed because every single person saw the true me. And to me, that's the biggest accomplishment. Leadership is when you have everyone that's working with you, for you, around you, sees who you are, and they work super hard to make your journey a success. And that's what I call leadership, and that's Migena leadership, always putting others first and never ever coming to conclusions without speaking to that person from a heart to heart, because you never know what you can learn about that person. And to this day I remain friends with all my employees. They're my friends, and they have taught me so much. So even though they think that I was there to help and make their lives better, it's always been the other way around. They have made my life beautiful, because when they see my father on the subway ride, when my father comes home from work at 3 in the morning, and they talk about this girl who was an interview in Albania who lives in New York, and my dad says, "Are you referring to this girl?" And they're like, "Yes." And my dad is like, "That's my daughter." And all these blessings. Oh my gosh, she was my employee. She hired me. She did this. She helped me. So my pockets are full of blessings from people. So I think I've done an okay job. I think
You've
I've done an
done
okay.
a remarkable job, and I just want to say thank you, McKenna. This has been a dynamic conversation. If you have not listened, already picked up the book, you absolutely want to pick up "Powerful Female Immigrants." Listen, 24 inspiring stories. You can pick it up on Amazon. You are welcome back here anytime. I really appreciate your time. This has been amazing, and looking
Thank you.
forward to seeing you IRL real soon.
Yes, thank you so much, and please reach out for anything you need. And it was truly an honor to be in your presence, and
You know,
for
you know,
asking beautiful questions, for me to revisit and refeel a lot of the emotions. Thanks for that.
thank you so much. And now you got to go. Have a great day.
All the best. Thank you so much,
Thank
TM.
you.
See you
Thank you.
soon.
Have a great weekend.
You too.